So is Queenpins worth paying full price for, or should you wait for it to go on sale? We'll find out soon. Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watch or Pass, and I'm here to talk to you about Queenpins, an all-new comedy coming to theaters on September 10th, 2021, and coming to Paramount Plus on September 30th, 2021. It's inspired by true stories about some uh, extreme couponing, kind of, but more of just kind of coupon fraud. It's about this housewife played by Kristen Bell who decides to kind of go for it and start a business where she sells coupons online and amasses a lot of money. And throughout this, she's joined by her best friend and neighbor, Kirby Howell Baptiste, who helps her along this journey. She's kind of the sales, and Kristen Bell is kind of the crazy in this operation. And it's enjoyable. It's fun. It has some flaws, but it's an interesting movie. So I'm going to talk to you about three things I liked, three things I didn't like as much about the film. So the first thing is I really liked the characters. The tone of this film is a little bit it's a little irreverent, a little kind of sarcastically positive. And so the film has a lot of interesting characters that kind of fit in with this mold. So the first one you meet is Connie, played by Kristen Bell. I liked her kind of insanely optimistic persona and kind of her go-get-em attitude. She kind of always had a plan and also was a little bit crazy about her couponing. But you know what, some of us are. I like saving money. I'm sure everyone does, and so I appreciated her specific brand of insanity of trying to get as much of a discount as she could. And I also really liked her friend Jojo, played by Kirby Howell Baptiste. They had a nice chemistry. Like Jojo was kind of more on the sales side. She was a little more energetic. Kristen Bell was a little bit more on the planning and a little bit more on the insane part of the insane couponing. And so together they formed a nice pair. They had a lot of fun together. And the other pair in this film were the investigators, the people who were trying to track down this interesting coupon site that started up. So I guess I should mention quickly that the story is that Kristen Bell and or Connie and Jojo start a couponing website where they sell free product coupons on the web for kind of half off what the retail price is. So you can imagine you get 50% off. You're pretty happy. They get 50%. They don't pay as much for these coupons. So they're pretty happy. Everyone's happy except for the corporations, who then have to give away their products for free. And the way they did this was they partnered with the company in Mexico who was printing these coupons, and they kind of either had discarded coupons or just would take surplus coupons and ship them to Kristen Bell, who would then sell them, and everyone was making a profit except for the companies. And so when this started to when the companies got wind and started making complaints to the stores that were taking the coupons, that got the ire of Ken, who's played by Paul Walter Hauser. He's kind of the shrink management person for this grocery chain store. And he kind of sees this trend and tracks down some information about these couponers. And he eventually is joined by Vince Vaughn, who's a postal inspector that helps along the way. And the two of them also make an interesting pair, a very different pair from Kristen Bell and Kirby Howell Baptiste, but no less entertaining. Paul Walter Hauser's character was a lot of fun at the start. I liked his no nonsense attitude, his kind of extreme following of the rules. As it went on, his character became a little gritty. Shame to Paul Walter Hauser. He did a good job as this character. There were some interesting situations that they placed him in. And Vince Vaughn was very funny in a strange, like serious type of way. He played a serious, by the book character that only Vince Vaughn can. He would say these kind of extreme, not extreme. He would say these very straight edge statements in a Vince Vaughn way that were funny in their seriousness. And so the two of them formed a very different but interesting pair as well. The second thing I loved about this film is the insanity. You wouldn't expect as much money to be made from this coupon site as actually was made in real life and was portrayed on the screen. But there are some extreme situations where Connie and Jojo are trying to spend all the money that they're making. They're trying to I guess launder the money back. So they're trying to buy expensive things and then eventually resell those to then have clean money. And so they went on some pretty extreme trips and some extreme purchases that put them in some insane situations, and I liked that. That was fun. There wasn't as much as I was hoping for, but there was some insanity as well. The other thing I really liked is the start, and that's mainly because you get to meet these characters. So I liked Kristen Bell's extreme couponing. I like saving money, and I appreciate Connie's specific form of insanity. It was really fun to see kind of her stacked up goods that she'd gotten with extreme deals, her like justification for, well, we're saving this much money, so we have to get this. I really loved that. And I also loved Paul Walter Hauser's kind of no nonsense attitude. He had some pretty funny things at the start. And so when you're meeting all these characters, I really liked how this film got going. It was fun to see. I was kind of interested in where the story was going to go. So things I didn't exactly love. So the film is inspired by true events, and whenever I see inspired by, that kind of is a red flag. This film took some liberties with the story. I guess the amount of money that they eventually ended up making was the same, which was a very high amount. And the kind of the overall idea of selling the coupons was the same, but I guess there were some liberties taken. There was a whole Mexico angle. I think from what I could read very briefly before making this video, the coupons were just counterfeit coupons. They were just printing these counterfeit coupons and selling them. And so maybe there was more to the story, but I did some very brief research. So it seemed like the film made the events seem a little more extreme in terms of how they went about their process. And also the pair, there were three people, not two people, and I don't know if they're, I think the film tried to give these characters some additional motivation, whereas the original pair, they just wanted to make money off of couponing, which, hey, nothing wrong with that as long as you don't do fraud. And so also the consequences of all the actions were very different in the film and in the real life story. So I don't love it when things are inspired by true events. I'd like to, either have this weird story or kind of tell it more accurately, not live in this gray area. And one of the ways you could tell that they took liberties here is that in the credits, there was no, here are the real people. It just went straight to credits, which you can always tell in those instances usually means that the film is very different from the real life story. Usually they'll at least try to put something like, Connie eventually did X, Y, and Z, or, this was the largest fraud, just anything, but they didn't put any of that. So, that I think that hurt it a little bit. When I went back and read about some of the real events, it did feel like this was a very different situation. The second thing I didn't love is it wasn't as funny as I think it was. I expected it to be, given kind of the situation and all the craziness that happened. There were definitely funny moments, but there were some quirks, like Paul Walter Hauser's character towards the middle and end. His character became a little grating. I really liked it at the start because he was kind of no nonsense, but then I don't know, they inserted a weird situation during a stakeout, and they also, made him overly aggressive during interrogations. It just felt weird. It felt like, his character was trying to hard. I think, nothing against Paul Walter Hauser. He did a good job in these scenarios, but I don't think they made his character, I don't think they did his character any justice with how they kind of portrayed him. And also there was this kind of like hacker angle that really almost felt like out of the 1990s film Hacker. Like it was, if you were going to create a hacker character in Hollywood, this is exactly how it was. Like it was like a Matrix reject essentially, who had like 15 screens, and it just felt very silly. And maybe that's because I like tech, and so if I see tech that's kind of very strangely represented, it kind of is a flag for me. But I didn't think that was as funny as it could have been, or I think they thought it was going to be. And then, the film itself, it was enjoyable, but I think, I don't know, there's something about it. The jokes just didn't hit with me. And so that also led to my third issue with the film. The story was a little slow. I mean, it kind of started off decently. And then there was some craziness that happened, but I don't know, the middle of the story just kind of dragged. And I don't know if it was just because it took them a while to set up this operation, or if I just didn't, I wasn't that intrigued by couponing. And I think the film actually says statements like that, like, the coupon, like, this is just couponing, no one cares. But I don't know, something about it just didn't grab me. And so it made the middle of the film feel really slow. The film is an hour and 51 minutes, and it definitely feels like it's hour and 51 minute runtime. Now, that's not to say it's a bad film. It just, there were parts when I would like actively look at my watch to see how much time was left. And that's never really a good sign, especially when you have a comedy and you have this cast. This cast is a pretty good cast. And so if they're not keeping the film moving and keeping you entertained, then there's something doesn't feel right about this. So the film is not bad. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the craziness of it. I liked the couponing angle at the start, and some of the insanity that happened. I don't know if you should run out and see this in theaters. You know, it's coming to Paramount Plus September 30th, 2021. If you're a bargain hunter, just get it on Paramount Plus. It'll be much cheaper than going to the theaters, and it kind of fits with the whole theme of the movie. So I would recommend seeing it in Paramount Plus in I guess like a couple 3 weeks, about roughly 3 weeks. But you know, if you want to go out, if you love Kristen Bell, you want to see her in this kind of strange, overly positive, very Kristen Bell type of role, then you know, who am I to tell you how to spend your money? But I would recommend you wait for the deal and see it on Paramount Plus. So thanks so much for watching. If you liked this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. And just for you today, if you subscribe in the next 15 minutes, I'll give you a buy one, get one free video. You can pick any of my videos and watch them for free just for subscribing today. So there you go, another deal. Thanks so much for watching. And just remember, if you watch the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves. Thank you.